Doing good on my end. Thank you very much for taking time to do this interview.
Yeah, I can see you. Normal?
Oh, I do not have a camera on right now.
All right. Okay, good. Good.
Oh, well, awesome. Well, again, thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview and be able to talk about this awesome new album, By Night, coming out next week through Napalm Records.
Yeah.
So I've had the chance to be able to check out this album this week, and yeah, I love where you guys are at here in 2022. It feels like an absolutely solid album from start to finish. I just love everything that's going on with the band right now, and I'm just so happy to see this album coming out next Friday.
Yeah. First of all, thank you very much. It's good when you invest a lot of effort into a project or a production like By Night, and that at least someone in the world appreciate it at max, just like you do. So thank you very much. And yeah, we are very excited about this release next week. We are working on this for yeah, a lot of time now. We have a lot of interview and review and everything. So yeah, we can't wait. It's a exciting momentum to release an album.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. So, thinking about that as well, I mean, what was it like to start writing for the album?
Actually, I always thought to write when the previous album get released. I mean, I will start to write or some riff or some lyric or to think about a new artistic direction for the next record. I think straight after that By Night will be released.
Oh, yeah, it's so great to see that, just like when you get done with an album and you're starting to promote it, you got that creative juices flowing and you're already thinking about the next album and what you can do with that next album and just having those creative juices flowing.
Yeah, exactly. I think that uh, composing. I I mean, at least for me, composing has to stay a certain routine. I like to, yeah, think about ideas, lyrics, artworks, riff, uh, scenes, arrangement. Take notes on my phone every day. I don't want to lose track talking about composing.
And that totally makes sense too. I mean, considering how many layers that really go in with every song that you guys do. I mean, there's a I mean, obviously it's not the most technical music in the world, but there's so many layers that every time that you
Exactly.
listen to it, you can hear something different going on and you're able to appreciate it on a different level.
Where are you coming from, mate?
I am from Minnesota in the United States.
Oh, dude, I so much you can imagine. I so much appreciate how much American people enjoy our music and how they can read clearly into our music. Back in Europe, they like the technical way of composing, and I'm always like, yeah, of course we know that we are not the fastest band in the world, we are not the most technical band in the world, but believe me that arranging all these layers together is something very technical. Talking about melody, harmony, and every single American person that has listened once to Dagoba made the same analysis than you just did, and I'm very thankful for this because it's touched me. It touched me a lot.
Well, I'm very glad to be one of those people, especially from over here in the U.S., who really does appreciate it for that style. Because I love it when you can combine something and just like find a way to be able to get the melodies and harmonies to really sing out over something that can be so groovy, so heavy, so much industrial and electronic moments that are going on between it. And like you said, there's so many layers that are going on. And I appreciate that because it has that replay value to me where it's like, okay,
Yeah,
I hear the top level. Now let me keep going down and just see what else is in this song.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, so that's how I love music, and so that's how I love to write my own music.
And
I like when it's deep.
Yeah, and that's the perfect way to describe it. It is very deep when it goes into the orchestration, the arrangements, the instruments that are being used, and of course the lyrics as well too, being such a prominent part as well too. I mean, when you can combine all of that and create the formula that you have in this band, it's just incredible.
Thank you very much, mate. I hope that more more American will think the same than you do, because thanks to By Night, I hope so. Could
Yeah,
be a good sign of.
I'm hoping for that as well too, and I've been seeing great reception for the singles that have been released so far. They're people like myself are really enjoying the videos. They're really enjoying the songs that were chosen as singles too. I think there were great choices that was released for that, and just being able to match that up is just so great.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. And you know that we are releasing another single just the day before the release.
Oh, that's awesome! I did not realize
Yeah,
that. Oh,
yeah,
that's gonna be some great promotion behind that. I love that. So,
yeah.
so with that in mind, I mean, obviously, there's so much that goes into the writing process. When it came to like this album, I mean, like, how did you? I mean, knowing your writing style, but like, what were you thinking about like during this album? I mean, obviously, there's been a lot going on in the world and stuff like that. So, it's like when it came into just being able to work on this band, work on these songs. I mean, what was that like for you?
Um, First, when we start to compose a new album, the first thing we do is to look back in our own discography, and we want to not offer the same thing. So what we did before, it's a start to compose the new album, because we don't want to repeat the same recipe over and over again. So that's the always the starting point of composing. Then there's so many elements that compose our music, as you said, uh, metal riff or trash song, some orchestral, some industrial, some also EDM music, and so then we have a lot of possibilities to explore, or we will put our finger more into our brutal parts, or onto orchestral parts, or into electro parts. We have so many options, and we just want to have fun. And when we compose music, we really want to play the music that we don't listen from other band. That's the most important things for us.
And it makes so much sense too. I mean, especially when you look at the debut album and you look at By Night and just seeing the evolution of the band and how everything has been changing, where you still sound like the band, but you can see the evolution that's been going on, and just seeing where you're at now with By Night and with it coming out next week. And of course, having such a great label like Napalm behind you, being able to promote it. I mean, it's so great to see where your guys are at right now.
Yeah. Exactly. And once again, I really appreciate that you are making this analysis, because it's 100% true. We just want to uh, propose a new face of the same band from album to album. It's always us. You can recognize Dagoba playing, but we don't want to propose exactly the same recipe every time. We want to evolve. We want to take risk, because if artists don't take risks, I mean, nobody will. It's the main purpose of our condition.
Yeah, and I love it for that. And it's just like when you look at the back catalog and you can just pinpoint every single album and see where you guys were at that specific moment, and just seeing the sounds that you were coming up with at the time. And again, that evolution is just so important. And I just think about like what I hear on this album, like the new use of orchestration and industrial moments, and I gotta imagine like different plugins for electronic sounds and instrumentation like that. I mean, it's always fun to be able to explore like that.
Yeah, yeah. It was a very exciting time of the by night composing to explore new scenes, going into internet some forum and talk to some guy. Hey, what kind of synths are you using, guy? Do you know what this DJ, what kind of synths is using? How make it work? Will it sound onto our music? Can we bring that element into our music? Yeah, that's an exploration which is very, very interesting too.
Oh yeah, and there's no guarantee that it's always going to work, but when it does work, when you can hear it back, and whether you're playing it or you're just hearing it back in demo form or the final product, and you hear how well it really does work together when you're able to combine something different. I can only imagine how great that feels when you're able to hear that for the first time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's really what I tell my friend when they ask me, hey, do you prefer being on stage or being into studio? And man, I think that being in studio is so intense, because when you find the right sound and the right note at the right moment of a song, dude, you can spend an all night long just listening to that second of music and just saying, man, I'm so exciting. I'm the only human being in the world listening to that new shit now, so it's so exclusive, it's incredible.
Oh yeah, and I feel that especially just like being able to have the honor to be able to check out this album ahead of its release, and really being able to enjoy it before the rest of the world gets to hear it, and just being able to talk to you about that stuff too, and just like hearing it before everyone else does, and getting to talk to you about that, and just just always following what you guys have done, and just again seeing where you're at right now. I can hear it in your voice, like how excited you are to be able to like
Yeah,
discuss the new stuff that's going on. It's just great.
yeah, and I think what is very, very cool for what I've seen from America, from for now. We had reaction on YouTube. We had some review. We have some interview, just like we are doing now. And what is very, very cool is that you guys are uh, if you for those who don't know about Dagoba at all, they just discover Dagoba with By Night and or the new single, and they want to look who we were and from where we come from, and that's very, very uh, cool, because now with the streaming platform and the new music market, everything, the music has become so I don't know how to say uh, it's fast. You don't buy the CD and listen to it for a year. You listen to a new band every day, a new single every day. It's a consumable, I mean. And since now American people are telling me that they are trying to know from where we were and looking back to our 7 previous record, and from the bottom of my heart, it touched me a lot.
And yeah, I mean, that is absolutely one of the best things that can happen, is just like what you talked about, where someone can discover you brand
Yeah,
new, and then they realize that this isn't a debut album with By Night, that there's a lot of great albums that you guys have done in the past, and they're available to check out, whether you want to be able to buy it in physical form, whether you want to be able to buy the MP3s, or if you do just stream it, like has become
yeah,
so rampant. I mean, there's so many different ways to be able to get the music and enjoy it.
yeah, exactly. I hope this will happen.
Well, if everything that I've seen from like the YouTube views and reviews that I've seen so far, I think that's absolutely going to be happening with this album, and I'm just so happy to see that I'm not the only one that's enjoying everything that's going on as well too. I mean, just like seeing the comments about people being excited for this album and like loving the videos that you guys did on here, whether it's the visual form or the full-on videos. I mean, it's so cool.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope something great will happen for the band. Who knows?
So thinking about that as well, I mean, obviously with the album coming out next week, and of course, when you have a great label like Napalm behind you, being able to help promote this album, and of course, thinking about the state of the world that we're still going through within the last few years and still dealing with it now, like, is there like anything on the table right now as far as shows coming out?
Yeah, we are supposed to get back on the roads in April till May in Europe. Then we will perform onto the massive European summer festival, like the Resurrection in Spain, the Summer Breeze in Germany, the Vertigo Rock here and there. And of course, we are working hard on getting back to the US.
Yeah, and I'm that makes me so happy to hear that too. I mean, again, just with everything that's been going on within the world, it's so hard to be in a band and being a musician when you're doing
Oh yeah,
when you're doing live shows. So, even with just getting back and doing the festival circuit, doing European shows, hopefully coming back here and just being able to get back on stage and being able to hear these songs in a live setting. I gotta imagine how cool of a feeling that's gonna be for you.
yeah, and we can wait to get back on the road because that's what we are doing for a living for more than 20 years now, traveling, meeting people, new culture, new country, new everything. And since 2 years, we can't do this. So yeah, it makes us some sad men, even if we are keeping it as positive as possible, because that was in some way the one of the purpose of By Night is that at the end of the uh, listening session, uh, some yeah, you can find some happiness in this album and some positive.
Yeah, and that's one thing I was gonna say too, is like you can really feel the emotions on this album too. And by the end, you do get those more positive feelings behind it, which is just another reason to be able to listen to the album from start to finish and get that all of that ebb and flow, the peaks and the valleys, the ups and the downs. And at the end, you just have that great positive feeling behind it.
Yeah, as you said, yeah, it's very important to keep a strong dynamic into each song, but also into the album. It's good to have some kind of scenario onto an album from the start to the end. It's good to pass through different emotions.
Very much so. And that's what makes album listening still enjoyable, is when a band does care about that as well, making sure that the track order is the way it's supposed to be, picking
Yeah.
the
Oh
right
yeah.
songs that are going to be on there, the right
Oh yeah.
singles to be able to attract new fans. I mean, there's so much that goes into it. And with everything that I've seen with By Night, I mean, everything seems to be going in the right direction.
Yeah. Even on By Night, I calculated the blank between each song. It's not equal between each song.
Oh,
The
wow.
blank time, the blank time
Yeah.
where, yeah, from the first song to the second one, for example,
Mhm.
and the blank within each song is calculated. It's not equal between each song. So the flow, there's a certain flow that gen listening yeah comfortable.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with the amount of spins that I've been able to give it so far. I think that absolutely fits with it. And yeah,
You
and
have to
again,
you have to make this album you have to make discover this album to your friends.
oh yeah, that's absolutely exactly why I do what I do and love doing these interviews and playing songs on my radio show that I have and being able to
Good, good.
do the album reviews as well too. Whether they're written up or I talk about it on the show, it's just like being able to promote the music that I love talking about. And this is an album that definitely deserves that recognition in 2022. And just hopefully just like myself and other people out there around the world are going to be able to have that same appreciation. And hopefully everything does go the way that it's supposed to with like coming back here to America and, having a great time back on the festival circuit again.
Yeah,
I mean, with all the bands that you've been able to open for and play with over the last 20 years, that's just an amazing resume for you guys with an ever evolving sound as well.
yeah. It was so good to share the stage with some of I mean most of the most of the biggest metal band in the world, plus some of our idol, like for example Metallica, and we learn a lot when we can share the stage with such big rock star, because they are super professional uh, as musician, and also with all their the crew and the way they manage their life uh, while touring. We are learning a lot playing with those huge star.
So thinking about that, is there like any particular examples that you can think of when it comes to that?
Hmm. I mean, uh, I think that's I've I've seen that sometime, and it was uh, mostly back in the year 2000, not 2010, the 2000. On the magazine, you you were like watching Rockstar always drinking and uh, addict or so. And when I was so young, and I was like, yeah, I will meet those guys. And when I'm watching them on the magazines, they are always drinking and so. But when I met them on stage, they were like super uh, uh, healthy and doing sports every day, because they told me, yeah, when you have to tour for 2 3 months in a row, you have to stay clean and yeah, have a healthy way of life if you want to uh, keep stay in the time.
And that makes so much sense too. And it's just like there's so much energy that really goes into playing a live show, especially when you have the stage lights on you. You have the depending on the venue that you're at, like the heat that comes from the venue from either the
Yeah,
crowds or just being in a smaller space that can just heat everything up, or being
uh,
in the festival circuit with just how hot it can get during the summer. It's just like there's so much that really you want to be able to save all that energy and be able to give the best show possible. So it does take things like staying clean from any bad habits, exercising
yeah,
on the road, drinking
exactly.
plenty of water. There's so much that goes into it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a real way of life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad to see that you were able to take those kinds of lessons, and other bands that have gone through all of those things, who have gone through like all the bad habits and
Yeah,
vices, they're still here on the other side and they've made a lot of good changes, and they're still able to put on great shows like Metallica, who,
yeah,
even 40 years later, they're still able to put on great shows. And
yeah,
they've gone through everything but
Yeah,
they're still here playing great shows.
yeah, exactly, man.
Oh, awesome. Well, I think with that, I think that's a great note to end on. And I thank you so much for taking this time to be able to talk to me
Thank
about
you, Josh.
everything
Thank
that's
you.
going on with the band. And of course, By Night coming out next week through the mighty Napalm Records. I
Yeah,
love this album. I just love everything about it from start to finish. I mean, I still need some more listens to just make sure of it, but I really do feel like this is the best album that you guys have done to date. And I just know that the band's only going to get better from here on out. So if this is what you guys are doing in 2022, I'm so excited to see what's going to happen with the next release.
thank you so fucking much for this.